Hello, everyone, and good evening. I hope you had a good Christmas and hopefully you have a good New Year. So basically, just wanted to go do a wee live here and see how everything is going. I hope everything's going well with you all and everything. Yeah, just sort of like in the process of going through some things around the bedroom and things like that and whatnot. Just trying to get this camera set up properly. Somewhat. Yeah, as you can see, there is a bit of dampness across the top there, and that, which is the housing knows about and whatnot. So basically, wanted to go do a live here today. Usually I do one about football and that, but today it's about everything. But I want to start off with a couple of football incidents and stuff over the past few days. So start off things with last night's match. As you know, Southampton took on Liverpool at St Mary's. The score was 1-0 to Southampton from Danny Ings after 2 minutes, which, if I'm honest, the free kick was a bit debatable, especially from the night's decisions that went certain ways in the match. I sat and watched it. Obviously, I'm a Liverpool supporter. I'm very disappointed in the result. Performance-wise, first half wasn't great. Second half was a lot better. Didn't create as many clear-cut chances, but we still had a few openings, but we couldn't take them. Had a couple of penalty appeals that didn't go our way. And I somewhat agree with what Klopp came out with last night in regards to the whole, if it had been anybody else but Liverpool, it would have been a penalty. And I somewhat agree because, and it shouldn't be that way. If I'm honest, it should go. Every team should get decisions where if they're right. And a professional referee said that the decisions that Southampton got for the penalties that Liverpool were claiming for, that they were right. But I don't see it that way. More so to the point because of what happened on Friday night against Aston Villa between Manchester United at Old Trafford. Because this incident not only raised a few eyebrows in my mind, but it raised the eyebrows as in, like, how was it a penalty? So at first I thought it was given for the pullback on Pogba's arm, but it wasn't. It was actually for when he went down, the contact. But when you see the screenshots and replays of where Paul Pogba falls down, he falls down from his own kick from the back of his foot, and then he goes down. He wasn't touched by the Aston Villa player. It was a soft penalty. It was never a penalty because he kicked himself. It should have been a yellow card to Paul Pogba and an indirect free kick from Aston Villa, in my mind. Because and then Sadio Mane went down yesterday under a challenge when he was fouled. The Southampton player never played the ball. Mane had the ball past him. Southampton player was playing him out of the pitch. And to me, that was more of a penalty than Paul Pogba's one was, because there was more contact made. Like, there was no contact to play the ball from the Southampton player. To me, it was a penalty. But Jamie Carragher said that if you look at the movement and all from Sadio Mane and all this here, it doesn't matter. If you can't look at slow-mos and say that that's why it was given. When you see it first time, the referee says penalty. VAR wouldn't have argued that would have been a penalty because there was contact. The first one was a handball when the Southampton player put his hands in, but because the rule says that if you've got your hands basically tucked in and that, it's not a penalty. And it does hit his arms. It does hit his hands. So to me, it was a clear handball because the way he slid in and he's got his chest, so he's made himself bigger. If a keeper does that, keepers are basically would be told, "Oh, that's a great save." So, and that, and we're saying, "Oh, that's a great block," and it's come off his arms, and it's intentionally. he's put his arm there. He knows it won't be given as a penalty because of where his arm is, so he knows how it works, and that's not right. That to me should have been a stonewall penalty. That one, the Sadio Mane one, it could be up for debate, but the one for the handball is a definite handball. And that, my dad was like saying, he said last night, it was more you'll get some and you'll get some of these and you won't get some of these, but that's not the way it should be. It's like if it's handball for one, it has to be handball for, it has to be a penalty for all of them, like that. Do you know what I mean? So the player knew what he was doing, and to me it should have been a penalty. And because of that, as I say, because of those two penalty decisions, if Liverpool had scored penalties, they would have won the game 2-1. Southampton had a couple of chances of their own, didn't take them. The goal that they did score with, and I honestly thought it was offside at first. I still haven't seen many replays of when the ball was played to where the first run was made. But what really got to me more was the fact that VAR had checked one in the first half for a penalty. And to me, I knew it wasn't going to be a penalty, but it's as if like VAR said, "Oh well, here we'll check it to make it look as if Liverpool fans like think know the VAR is actually working and it works in their favour to check it for a penalty." And it was nowhere near a penalty. The player touched the ball, should have been a corner. The referee gave a goal kick. Like it was a clear corner, like, and the referee, Andre Mariner, just gave a goal kick. It was stupid, like. But yeah. So performance-wise, not great. Second half, much better, but still lacking that creative spark. We had a very attacking team, and in the first half, it didn't look it. Now, Thiago was booked quite early on, and it was for the tackle. As far as, and I don't know if it was actually for the pullback for the goal, for Southampton's goal, but I know he was booked quite early on. And from all the tackles that were in the game, I thought it was a really harsh yellow card to give, considering, he didn't give too many fouls in Liverpool's favour, which really annoyed me because there were a couple of meaty tackles that you wouldn't get away with. Well, you shouldn't be getting away with, but they did. And that really annoys me sometimes in football. Whenever you look at it going like, oh, it should have been a 2-footed tackle, or it should have been a red card. He jumps off 2 feet off the ground or whatever. If you jump off the ground with 2 feet flying in, it should be an automatic red card. It's dangerous play. Do you know what I mean? You could break a leg. Do you know what I mean? But that being said, VAR is meant to be there to clear up incidents. But if I'm honest, all it's been doing is been causing more problems than it has fixed them. And that's not just for Liverpool, that's for quite a few teams, except for Manchester United, obviously, because they've been getting penalties near enough every game that they've played this season. And it's ridiculous. Like the past couple of games, they've had penalty near enough in every game. Don't get me wrong, there's going to be 1 or 2 penalties that probably definitely were penalties, but the one against Aston Villa was never a penalty. If you're kicking yourself in the box and you go down, you get, you're entitled to a penalty now because United got one. Do you know what I mean? So consistency levels need to be there. So it's as if like whoever's behind VAR supports Manchester United or something, or doesn't want Liverpool to win the league or something. It's something like there's definitely a conspiracy theory against Liverpool, that's for sure. No one wanted Liverpool to win the league last year. That's why they were all saying, "Oh, the season should be voided," and, because of the COVID and things like that, and whoever. Do you know what I mean? But you don't hear anyone saying that now. Whenever you've got more of a serious lockdown in place. You don't hear fans saying like, "Oh, football shouldn't be playing here," and all this here nonsense. Because health's more important, and there's more coronavirus cases than anything at the minute, and that's another thing I want to talk about too as well. The COVID, I know it's obviously on everyone's mind and things like that with trying to protect their families and everything. And to be quite honest, I mean, families and safety first. Do you know what I'm saying? It's because at the end of the day, health is more important than anything. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, so whether it's protecting your own family, protecting yourself, protecting those that you work with, protecting your own bubble, and things like that. Doing basically what the government is basically asking you to do. So if if you don't work in an essential shop, as such, you're supposed to be not working in an essential shop, so they're supposed to be not open. But yeah, there's certain areas that are a bit grey, and I would like to find out more, to be honest, about them. But yeah, it's a bit like I said, it is a bit of a grey area in regards to things like that. But yeah, but I hope everyone's okay, and everything. I had a better Christmas in 2020 than I did in 2019, which is obviously a good thing. Even though last year we had the whole COVID thing and stuff, this year's going to be more or less the same. People are basically thinking, oh, it's we'll be fine come March, April time. We won't be. We will not be fine. We won't be fine for at least another year. I would say. But the government are trying to sort of pussyfoot around it, and I don't know. I just give up with the government sometimes, because the way they come off with things, it's like they have all these medical people there to help them and to judge what's going to happen and things like that. They don't even know themselves. They can't tell, but no one can tell. But the way I see it, from what numbers I see that have got coronaviruses, and people who've tested positive for it, and the deaths from it and things like that, from not just COVID but from COVID related issues, as it is now known as. So the amount of people who have directly died from COVID is probably lower than what the actual amount of people who have died with COVID like symptoms or whatever it is, or COVID related deaths. So COVID related deaths could be anything from having COVID itself to having one of the symptoms which you then die from. Are you going to die from a cold? I'd like to hope not. Do you know what I mean? Because everyone gets colds. Even if you've got the flu vaccine, you're still going to get a cold. Do you know what I mean? Because that doesn't, even if you get, I got my flu jab there in November. It was supposed to be October, but it was put back because there was a shortage of it. But the government claimed that there wasn't a shortage of it. So this is what I mean. Who do you believe? Or who can you believe whenever it comes to things like this? And this is the problem. And this is why so many people have issues with governments, because none of them seem to tell the truth, or they tell some part of the truth, but not the rest of it. They want to keep everyone in the dark about certain things. And that's what annoys more people than anything else. But yeah, I don't know. So I don't know. But yeah. But as I say, I've just been chilling for the past couple of days, as I've been off working myself a couple of days. Not because of COVID or nothing like that, just because of the type of work I do. So I'm just off at the moment. And whatnot. But I'm going to upload, instead of doing a live video and things like that, because not many people come onto the stream when it's live and things like that. I've noticed, like, one person I think actually came on to it. I think it's one person. Let me see. Yeah, it looks as if it's just one person, because there's just one person who just comes on and whatnot. But I think it may be better doing a video, recording it and putting it up and things like that. So I'll probably do like 1 or 2 a week. So I'm not going to be picking what days. It could be 2 days in a row. It could be like a couple of days after this one. I could do another one tomorrow. About random things again. Basically the chats that I do, the videos that I do, basically they're just be videos just for the sake of doing them. Quite honest. Because I got a webcam, I got a microphone. sort of thing. And I was like, right, what should we do? What should I talk about? What should I do? Obviously, there's only so many things you can do with the likes of YouTube now and things like that by doing videos and things like that. You can't really, put a video up and sing anymore the way you used to be able to before, because as I say, even though you say in the videos that it's not your song and things like that, it's because it's copyrighted and all that there type of thing. They're just don't get me wrong. I know it's not YouTube's fault. It's just like basically they're all of the ones that YouTube have. They're just taking the fun out of it all, and that, you know what I mean? Like, we're in a lockdown. What else is there to do bar watch TV, go out for an hour of exercise? Because that is not now. This is a conversation. Well, a topic that a guy I know brought up with me, and I didn't really basically say anything to it because I was told. So back in March, whenever the first lockdown over in Northern Ireland happened, I rang the non-emergency police number, and I rang the NHS number, and basically rang the two of them to find out how long you could go out for a walk or exercise outside. So basically, what I was told by both was that you could go out for as long as you wanted in your area. There was no set time frame. Like, you could go out for an hour, you could go out for 2, 3, 4 hours. If it's in your area, if it's within your area, then there's no problem with that at all. And I was like, okay. And basically they said, as long as you don't come into contact with anybody and you're keeping yourself safe, then that's fine. So back in March, whenever I was doing my walks and things, my routine walk, daily walks and stuff like that, I was going out enough either every day or every other day, and that over the course of lockdown and that. Obviously got myself a new pair of walking boots kind of thing to use and stuff for it, because I was just using like my trainers and stuff, and they were getting holes in because of the stones and stuff and things like that. But that's what I was doing, as I say, during the last lockdown. Well, the first lockdown, should I say, over here, and that. But now they've come out and said that you can only do 1 hour of exercise. So, as in, like, you go out for an hour. So you could go out for half an hour walking back again. But that doesn't include you going to the. So if you needed to go to the like the corner shop type of thing, like a shop in your area and where you live or whatever, or the Spar for that matter, and you went there, that doesn't include that. So you can have your hour exercise, your half hour here, half hour there, and be able to go to like the Spar. Now, and this is another thing that people were confused about, and a friend of mine was basically being hounded by police in an unmarked car on our way to work, and basically she said about that because of it was on a Sunday, which was the 3rd of January. Curfew had ended, as far as I know, on Saturday, but there was a lot of confusion about stores being allowed to open. So any shops that were open during that. So during the curfew, most shops were closing around 7, half 7, so they could let their staff go home and be home before the curfew came into effect. Now, obviously, if a curfew came into effect for 8 o'clock, so if you weren't near home by 8 o'clock or whatever, you had to have a good, like, a letter type of thing, or a good enough reason why you're out past a certain time. Say if, like, oh, I'm not long getting out of work, I'm just getting back home now. And then they'll be like, oh, right, okay, where do you work or whatever? And they'll be like, I work in such and such a place. It's like, what time were you due to finish at? Sort of thing. And they'll be like, oh, I was due to finish at like 7 o'clock or something, but I didn't get finished until about 5 past 10 past 7 by the time I got out. And they were like, okay, it's like, how did you get home? I was like, I got a leftover type of thing. So or whatever. So how long would it normally take you getting across, from, wherever to wherever? And if they turn around and say 20 minutes, and they'll be like, well, so if it only takes you 20 minutes getting across, from wherever to wherever, you should have been at home before 8 o'clock. So why weren't you? Do you know what I mean? So that's the pressure that people are on now, during a curfew. So it's like, so you're having to basically be in before that. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, you could easily be at another shop if they're open, but I don't know. But I always made myself sure that during the curfew time and that if I was working before that I'd be home before that. But luckily enough, as I say, I wasn't in work in any leading up to the curfew times or anything like that. So which was always good. I was only in like 2 days, and then I've been off. But obviously we were off Christmas Day and that, and I was in Boxing Day, and then the day after Boxing Day, and then that was it. So but yeah. So instead of doing a live video, I'm going to try and create a video here by like recording one using the webcam and things like that and the microphone, and finding things to talk about. And yeah, so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to do maybe one live video. So I might do another live one on here, then do another recorded one, or try to record one anyway, and whatnot. Have a couple of topics in mind, type of thing, talk about them, sort of thing. And if anyone wants to leave a comment on it, then they can do. And that, if they want to subscribe to the channel, as I say, you can click the subscribe button and things like that, and whatnot. And then yeah, so I hope you all had a good Christmas and have had a good New Year so far. I know we're only 5 days in, which is hard to believe already. 5 days in, another, 300 odd to go. Well, 330 odd to go to next Christmas. So yeah, so I hope you are having a good evening so far today and things like that, or good morning, depending on where you're watching this from. And yeah, I shall hear from you soon. Talk soon. Bye.